Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now, Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back, guaranteed. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Hello and welcome to History for Weirdos.
We're your hosts, Andrew
and Stephanie,
and we're going to take you on a journey into the strange, obscure, and relentlessly entertaining corners of human history.
Now listen up, friends, because it's about to get weird.
Weirdos, welcome back to another episode of History for Weirdos.
Do you know what episode number it is?
Oh, I have no idea.
Same.
I stopped doing the episode numbers and the introductions like a long time ago.
Who knows how many episodes ago?
I don't know. It's like probably either 140s, maybe 150, something like that.
Wow, we've been doing this already a long time.
Yeah, I remember doing our 50th episode right before we traveled to Rome, like years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like the last episode we did, and it was that special like Q&A episode.
Did we do it here at Spotify?
No, we did it in our bedroom.
Okay.
So much different.
Much more professional.
We were literally in bed recording that.
That's right. That's right. We were extra silly.
Yeah.
Well, today we're at Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Again.
Oh, my gosh. So thank you so much to our lovely friends at Spotify who let us use this space. It's so professional.
Yeah,
and everyone's always so nice.
Always so nice. And you might be noticing my sweatshirt here.
If you're watching video, you could see that Andrew has some of our merch on for the Kudiyun Wrestling Club.
This is honestly like one of my favorite, I think, merches that we have.
The design?
Yeah, the design. It's so sick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't design it, everyone. So I had someone design it, but it was my concept.
Yeah, it was your brain.
Yeah.
Your brain came up with it.
Before we jump into the episode today, Andrew and I thought it would be fun if I pulled a tarot card for us.
I was like, you know what? It's History for Weirdos, right? We need to add the weirdo element here.
Also, I wonder if it's going to be cool to hear the cards shuffling.
Oh, yeah,
Ready?
do it.
Was that fun?
That was fun.
Was that satisfying?
It was, actually.
Oh, and I messed up the shuffling. Fuck.
She's usually really good at shuffling, guys.
Yeah.
This is...
Because I've been shuffling since I was 7 years old. Andrew asked me once, he's like, how are you so good at shuffling? And I was like, what do you mean? You like everyone shuffles since they're kids. And he's like,
Yeah.
What? And I was like, wait, did you not shuffle for your parents when they'd play blackjack?
And I was just like, no.
And I was like, did you also not play bartender and mix the drinks for them?
And I was like, no.
So we had slightly different childhood experiences.
You know, just slightly.
Just slightly.
There we go. That was better.
That's a little bit better.
Oh, maybe not.
Oh my God, shut up, babe. Okay. There we go. I'm going to have you cut the deck.
Okay, I'm going to cut it. I got a kitty.
And then I'll lay out the card for our reading for today. Today, weirdos, the card we've pulled.
What is it? the 5 of Swords.
And I pulled it reverse
So
for
there
the
we
camera,
go.
but it was upside down. That means something. So show it upside down.
Or like,
Yes. I actually don't know what that means, so let me look it up.
you insist on doing this, and you're like, actually, I have no idea. That's amazing.
I have a really good site that I use. It's called Biddy Tarot.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, the 5 of Swords reversed represents reconciliation, making amends, and healing past resentment.
Really?
So maybe someone listening to this needed the reminder that it is time to make amends and heal past resentment.
Okay.
Okay?
That's better than I thought.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty positive.
I don't think that relates to the episode at all, does it?
No, not at all. Should we
Okay.
get started?
Yeah. Speaking of which, while we're here, let's get started. Stephanie, it is your week this week. I hope you have something prepared. I know for a fact you do. But Stephanie, this one was a fan favorite, like a fan favorite of suggestion. We had so many people suggesting this episode, and it's in the ancient history realm, which most of the time is usually like geared towards me. But this time, it's about a subject that you know far more about than I do.
Yes.
I'm really excited to hear you tell it.
Well, I hope I know more than you do. I'm always so nervous when I do an ancient history episode because,
You don't want to disappoint me.
yeah. And it's so hard. These are such harder ones.
You don't want me to be like that meme of be like, wait a minute, this isn't my world. Disappointed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Okay.
So, to get into this week's episode, yes, you're correct. A lot of folks requested this when I was covering someone else that this person is related to. So, let me jump right in. Ptolemy VIII is remembered as greedy, paranoid, cruel, gluttonous, and disgusting.
I love it.
One contemporary source wrote that he liked to wear garments of transparent gauze through which his blown-out body showed, and was almost worse than having to actually look at his naked hideousness. Just to paint a
Wow.
picture.
Wow. So he was ugly on the inside and out.
Ptolemy VIII's cruelty and exaggerated appearance earned this pharaoh the nickname Physcon, meaning potbelly.
That's right, weirdos. We're talking about Potbelly.
We will be referring to him as Potbelly for the remainder of this episode. He's known for his political and military conflicts with his siblings, his subservience to Rome, and his role in helping to cause one of Egypt's civil wars, and many credit him with Egypt's eventual economic collapse.
Lovely.
Lovely. As I mentioned, I briefly discussed him when I was doing the episode on the first Cleopatra in the Ptolemaic dynasty. I don't know what episode number that is, but go find it if you haven't listened to that one already.
I think whatever like app you use to search, you can just probably search it and it'll pop up.
Mm-hmm. So, weirdos, you asked for this. We're about to dive into Potbelly's disreputable yet legendary life. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Let's start with his parents and when he was born, okay?
Okay.
Right at the beginning. That's a good spot.
That's a great spot.
So Potbelly was born in 184 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemies, as a quick recap, were a Greek Macedonian ruling family in Egypt, and they arrived after Alexander the Great's conquests. Any commentary so far, babe?
The first one was named Ptolemy the First.
And that's why they're the Ptolemies.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love it.
Potbelly was the son of, what do you think his dad's name was?
I'm going to guess Ptolemy.
Yeah, his
Okay.
dad's name was Ptolemy. He was Ptolemy V. And his mom was Cleopatra I, or Cleopatra Syra, which is the Cleopatra we covered. Her lineage also descends from Alexander the Great's homies.
I love that. His homies.
His best friends. They really fuck shit up, but that's a whole nother story. She is of Seleucid ancestry. And Ptolemy and Potbelly, our Ptolemy, he has 2 siblings, Ptolemy the Sixth
Oh my God.
and Cleopatra the Second. I'm going to stop right here and say, everyone, it's about to get really annoying because everybody's named Ptolemy and everybody's named Cleopatra from here on out.
I know. It's like there's zero inventiveness at this point in time. Like it's worth like it's funny because the Romans used to make fun of Carthage because everyone was named Hanno or Hannibal, like Hamilcar. It was all like the same like dozen names, right? With this period, it's Ptolemy
Everyone
for
is
men
Ptolemy.
and Cleopatra for women.
Yeah.
And that's like almost it.
You're going to get a little variety with some Antiochuses at some point
Oh yeah, there we go.
and a Bernice here and
Oh.
there.
There we go.
But mainly everyone is going to be called Ptolemy and then Cleopatra.
It's so absurd. Like it sounds like we're just making this up.
I know. And I'm not. I promise. I would have made it much clearer.
Yeah.
So if you get confused, that's okay. It's confusing. Look up their family tree. It's really gross. Okay. So we're going to go forward a little bit to September of 180 BCE.
Okay.
This is where Ptolemy V, so Potbelly's dad, he is barely 30. At the oldest, he'd be 30 years old, and he is already found dead by his servants. Dun,
Wow.
dun, dun. That's young.
That's very young.
You're older than that.
So are you. I see you casting stones over here.
His wife, Cleopatra Syra, assumed the rule of Egypt with her eldest son, Ptolemy VI, as co-ruler. And she planned for her son, Ptolemy VI, to marry his full-blooded sister, Cleopatra II. Okay?
Yeah.
So Potbelly's the little brother. He's the
Yes.
youngest of this trio. Everyone's really excited about the wedding. Who wouldn't be?
They're keeping it in the family.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Guest list is going to be small. When suddenly Cleopatra Syra dies.
No.
Isn't that awful?
That's terrible.
So the date of her death is unclear, but for this story, we'll use about 176 BCE. That seems to be the largest consensus, which means that she would have been between 38 and 40 years old. Yes, she was older than her husband. So what we do know is that in April of 176 BCE, the 12-year-old Cleopatra II married her eldest brother, Ptolemy VI.
Oh my God. Okay.
And at this point, you might be like, that's gross. It is. Sibling marriage had been practiced in the Ptolemaic family before. This marriage rebooted the tradition of brothers and sisters getting married because Cleopatra Syra and Ptolemy V were not siblings.
Okay.
Ptolemy V did not have any sisters, which is why he didn't marry a sister.
Got it.
So Cleopatra Syra was a foreign queen, and we talked about in much more depth in her episode how important it would have been for her survival to really align herself with the Ptolemies, with the traditions of the Greek Macedonians in Egypt, as well as local Egyptians. So this move of having her kids marry each other is a part of that.
Got it.
Is a part of her saying, yes, I'm a foreign queen, but I'm accepting the customs here. I want my son and daughter to marry each other.
I remember you talking about that and how important it was and how she had a very clear plan and was very intelligent.
She was super smart.
Yeah.
She was really well loved. And so people were very, very sad when she passed away. I'd say even more so than when her husband passed away.
Oh, snap.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward, pretty much from this point on, there's going to be sibling marriage or close relative marriage for the Ptolemies all the way to Cleopatra VII. Gross.
Great.
And I want to say, I think I said this in the Cleopatra episode, but just to reiterate here, these are not symbolic unions. They are expected to consummate the marriage. They are expected to provide heirs. To have lots of children actually is going to be the queen's job. And first-degree incest is not common practice in Egypt at the time. though there had been some instances of it in the pharaohs in the New Kingdom, it wasn't common for them either.
Right.
The relationships that the Ptolemies have would have been considered taboo for anyone else, but that's part of why the Ptolemies engage in sibling marriage and engage in close relative incest. It's because it elevates them to the level of the gods.
Right. Which did do that.
The gods were allowed to do that. For example, Isis and Osiris, as well as Zeus and Hera, are lovers and siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really trying to show the common people, like, we are divine. We're not an everyday person.
Right. Which makes sense.
Which makes sense, even though it's gross. Okay. So going back to the siblings, that just got married, because of the wedding, the Seleucids sent some diplomats to Alexandria to say congrats to the new king and queen, but they were not super happy to see the Seleucids, despite the fact that they're relatives, because these two families, the Ptolemies and the Seleucids, are always at war with each other.
They're always at war.
They're always at war. Good things do not come from these two battling. They're always fighting over land. Both want their empires to be bigger.
Exactly. And because of them fighting against each other, they literally just, none of them make any like massive, long-standing territorial gains.
Yeah.
And they just weaken each other, and they're both eventually taken over
Collapse.
by other foreign powers.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
It really is so ironic and so dumb.
It's just short-sighted.
Yeah, it's very obvious this isn't working out. The Romans also sent someone to say hi and reaffirm their relationships with the Ptolemies, because Rome is starting to grow some muscle at this point.
Yeah, they're the big boys on the block right now.
And Ptolemy VI is known as Ptolemy Philometor, and he is likely crowned, I think Philometor means mother-loving son, and he is likely crowned in Memphis, and this is the first time that happens in the Ptolemaic dynasty, and actually all the rest of the Ptolemies will also be crowned in Memphis from now on.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Egypt seems happy with their newlywed rulers, and I think this is largely because everyone loved Cleopatra Cyrus so much. They were happy to see her kids happy.
Oh my God.
So everything is going smoothly, right?
Wrong.
The young king and queen / brother and sister duo unfortunately have some terrible advisors that they are learning from. Their names are, I don't actually know how to pronounce these. I think it's Eulaeus and Linnaeus. They were just advisors in the court. These two are they're young, they're teenagers. Both of their parents are dead. They assume the crown, and these two guys kind of take advantage of them.
Right.
And try to get their agenda done through the young rulers. And then at the same time, over in the Seleucid Empire, King Antiochus IV ascends to the throne after the assassination of his brother, Seleucus IV. And I think this dude is their uncle, Antiochus. But even so, he makes it known as soon as he ascends to the throne that he has his eye on Egypt and he's ready for conflict, because he sees that they're young, weak rulers.
Yeah, wow.
Not very nice.
That's not very uncle-like.
Then, in November of 170 BCE, Eulaeus and Linnaeus, the crappy advisors, they decide, we're going to shake things up.
Of course, why not?
Let's do something different.
Add some drama, add some spice.
They convince Ptolemy Philometor and Cleopatra II that their little brother, Potbelly, should be co-ruler with them.
That's a huge mistake.
The idea was that all three siblings would have equal power.
Great.
What could go wrong?
I'm guessing a lot's going to go wrong here.
We're not entirely sure why this was the suggestion. It's possible that Eulaeus and Linnaeus were trying to diminish Ptolemy Philometor's power because people were already really starting to like him. He was becoming a very popular pharaoh. It's also possible that they didn't care that he was popular. They were just dumb advisors.
Yeah, or maybe Potbelly offered them something, right?
That's a good point. For this episode, I heavily am referring to the source of Llewellyn Jones's book, The Cleopatras, and I did want to quote his opinion on the subject here.
Oh, yeah.
So according to Llewellyn Jones, he wrote, "If we are to give Eulaeus and Linnaeus the benefit of the doubt, then at best they are trying to create a sense of unity among the siblings. But if the motive of this incompetent ministers was to maintain their own tenuous grip on power by deliberately creating dissent among Cleopatra Cyrus' children, then it worked brilliantly."
Oh, wow.
They created a recipe for disaster. And the reason that this was a recipe for disaster is that the two brothers could not have been more different. Ptolemy Philometor was known for being gentle, kind, responsible, even a bit of a pushover, right? Like he's so gentle and nice that he has these terrible advisors convincing him to do things. Potbelly, on the other hand, was believed to be naturally cruel, vindictive, petty. He was also extremely intelligent, cultured, and surprisingly charismatic.
Damn, that's a dangerous combination.
Yep. Potbelly would have been really happy about this unexpected rise in station, right? He's not expecting to be the pharaoh unless his brother dies. So he's like, oh, I have more power here.
Right.
Which could have increased his sense of arrogance and entitlement. But Ptolemy Philometor would have been resentful that his little brother has been elevated to his status. So there's going to immediately be strife between the three rulers. And who is ready to take advantage of this mess? Antiochus, over ruling the Seleucid Empire.
Right.
One anonymous author of the time wrote, quote, "Antiochus thought to reign over Egypt that he might have the dominion of two realms, and was intent on seizing Egypt, despising the youthfulness of its king and the inexperience of his tutors." End quote.
Wow. That's a powerful quote right there.
Mm-hmm. So this situation leads to the sixth war between these two families. The sixth Syrian War is what it's known as.
I mean, which is crazy. It's absolutely insane. They never make large territorial changes.
It's always like, oh, I pushed the border a little bit more this way. Oh, and then it receded that way. And
yeah,
it's never worth it.
It doesn't seem like it is. It's just like kind of like the general little Levant area, and they're just bickering.
The Seleucid Empire is huge too.
Yeah, it was the
already.
biggest of all of the post-Alexandrian empires by far.
Alexander's homies.
Yeah, yeah. So funny enough, you brought up name repetition. Like in the Seleucid Empire, everyone, and you've already kind of covered it. Everyone was named either, and the men at least were named Seleucus or Antiochus.
Yep, we've already covered both.
Yeah, already both.
Well, this sixth war between the two is swift and bloody. Antiochus wins very quickly, unsurprisingly,
right,
and marches into Egypt. This is the first invasion of Egyptian soil since the conquest of Alexander the Great.
Wow.
150 years before.
Right.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because Clear the Rack is on at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through Monday, find incredible deals on Wear Now styles. On sale for even less at Nordstrom Rack. Take an extra 25% off red tag clearance throughout the store from brands like Adidas, Marc Jacobs, Steve Madden, and more. All sales final. The best stuff goes fast. So shop this sale at Nordstrom Rack today. Please see NordstromRack.com or ask a store associate for details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hi, Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep, I am here to help you with everything, from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
Oh, not a problem. I can even schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay.
So the first room we're looking at is for guests.
Shop Blinds.com now and get up to 40% off with minimum purchase. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Then Julius, I can't remember how I decided to pronounce his name.
It's all good.
Julius tells Ptolemy Philometor, okay, you're screwed. The best thing you can do right now is grab all the cash that you can and leave Alexandria. Leave your sister/wife and your little brother behind because they're going to slow you down.
Oh my God.
And he does it.
Oh, Philometor.
He takes the advice, and he was aiming for the island of Samothrace, but the Seleucids catch him on the way there, and he's taken prisoner.
With all the money, too.
With all the money.
With, like, the treasury. Oh my God, what a dum-dums.
Back in Alexandria, Cleopatra and Potbelly are just, like, stunned. They had no idea that their brother was planning to ditch them.
Yeah.
They don't know that he's even gone when they get the news that he's being held prisoner. They're like, what?
Like, when did he leave?
He's not in his room? What are you talking about? So they're shocked and don't know what to do. At the same time that their pharaoh is being held captive, there is a palace revolution against Eulius and Linnaeus. Thankfully, the mob of the palace chases them out.
Oh, good for them.
They disappear actually from history after this day.
Oh, excellent.
So they're gone. We never see them again. So
Good.
luckily the crappy advisors are out of the picture.
Yeah, seriously.
But this means with Ptolemy Philometor held prisoner, Eulius and Linnaeus have been kicked out of the palace. Who is the sole king of Egypt?
It's Potbelly.
It's Potbelly.
Oh, boy.
And this prompts Uncle Antiochus. Remember our Uncle Antiochus?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take Alexandria now because now it's just my even younger, littler nephew.
Yeah,
he's the only
like,
one.
What a joke.
What's he going to do? However, Alexandria is positioned up against the sea.
Yeah.
So this, and they already, prior to this, already had a lot of grains stored. And being up against the sea means it's easy for them to get resources.
Right.
And get help. So they're actually ready to wait him out in the palace. They're like, yeah, you keep sieging the city. We could wait forever. That's their strategy. We're just going to sit here and wait and see how long it takes you. Maybe you'll get hungry. Maybe you'll leave.
Oh, my God.
They also are able to, because of their sea access, they do send ambassadors to Rome and ask Rome for help. But the Romans say no.
Yeah, the Romans are still busy, like, recovering from the Second Punic War still. I mean, even though it was decades prior, it's still recovering. They're also, like, in the midst of subjugating Greece as well.
So it wouldn't make sense to make the Seleucid Empire your enemy.
They kind of were already, but, I mean, they were already fighting so many different, or they had recovered from so many different fronts. It's a weird time in Roman history. I'm not, like... I don't know. I think they were probably spread thin.
Yeah.
And they were just like, no. And because they've just, oh, you know why? They just made territorial gains in North Africa, made headway into, like, the Balkans and Greece.
Oh, wow.
Spain. So they are definitely spread thin.
Okay. So they say no. Good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Cleopatra II is like, okay, well, I'm not down to be stuck here with Potbelly because he's gross. So she intercedes between both of her brothers and her uncle, and she talks sense into everyone. This young woman, the only woman in the picture, is the one that's like, you guys are being so dumb.
Wow.
Uncle, F off.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know what you're doing here. Let the three of us rule again. But we'll rule, like, I think she sweet talks him into being like, we'll rule, like, in your name.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe. Because
He's
we're
like,
all
yeah.
family. Like, remember, you loved our mom. That was your sister. And he agrees. She convinces him and he agrees.
Nice.
This is now the second time that the three siblings are going to share the throne. And this lasts until about 164 BCE. And things are settled for a while with the three of them sharing. Fairly peaceful in terms of more like meso-macro things.
Mm-hmm.
The two brothers can't stand each other ever, but that's always the case.
Yeah.
During this time of like steady peace of the three of them ruling together, Cleopatra II has 4 kids.
Oh my God.
They are all Ptolemy Philometers because even though she's ruling alongside Potbelly, they are not married. She can only have one husband, and her husband is her other brother. Duh.
Obviously.
And while Cleopatra II is busy having all these babies, her 2 brothers are just constantly squabbling. It sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about it.
But then there's a little uprising in Upper Egypt, and Ptolemy Philometor goes out with his troops to address it, unfortunately giving Potbelly the chance to organize his supporters into a resistance group, and they succeeded in ousting Ptolemy Philometor from Alexandria, declaring that the 3-sibling rule is over. I'm not sharing anymore.
Oh my God.
At first, Potbelly places his sister Cleopatra on the throne next to him with the intent to make her his wife.
Oh, this poor woman.
But she's smart. She manages to flee to Cyprus in the middle of the night. And she manages to escape with all of her children with her. She's got toddlers and infants.
Oh, she's like, 4 kids.
Mm-hmm. And they all flee. And as they, because obviously if she had left them, I should say, Potbelly would have killed them.
Right.
He just would have killed his nieces and nephews. Yes.
Yeah.
So they all flee to Cyprus, and Ptolemy Philometor meets them there. He sails over. He's like, "Hi, guys. Little family vacation in Cyprus. Sounds so nice."
Sounds lovely.
Sounds so lovely, but they're stressed.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. By the beginning of 163 BCE, Potbelly is ruling Alexandria on his own. So this is his first time, and I'm saying first time for a reason, his first time ruling independently.
Okay.
It's fun. It gets really messy.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a good time, huh?
Yeah. And once people think at this time that without his sister, without Cleopatra II around, no one is keeping him in check. She was kind of the only person who could stand up to him. So he really starts to show his true colors. He goes after his brother's closest advisors and supporters and has them killed. And he does this to just many people in the court who were really fond of Ptolemy Philometor. He's like, "I know you liked my brother more than me," and he kills them.
Oh my God, what a psycho. It's like, yeah, no shit they liked him more than you, buddy.
Even if they're claiming, yeah, we respect your rule, you're the king now. He doesn't care. He's like, "But you've always liked my brother more, so you're dead."
Sounds like a peach.
He's a really chill guy.
Yeah.
He also keeps begging Rome to back up his claim.
Like, Daddy Rome.
Basically.
I mean, to be fair, like from here on out, Ptolemaic Egypt is like that for Rome.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Rome, like step in. They're like the petulant children.
Potbelly's the first.
Yeah, he's like the first one to do this, and this like literally goes for another 100. Well, slightly over. I mean, till the Cleopatra.
Yep, exactly. But Rome is just really annoyed, and they're like,
"Yeah,
no, leave us alone. We're not backing anyone's. No, shut up."
Basically, yes. I think that's really accurate.
Mm-hmm. They're very annoyed with him. By May of 163 BCE, so just a few months into it, the people of Alexandria have had enough with Potbelly. They are so over him.
As they should.
An Alexandrian mob strips him of his royal guard, and they sent word to Cyprus to bring back the other Ptolemy, right, Philometor. And then they storm the palace. They overpower Potbelly's like minimal defenses, and they literally kick him out of the palace.
That's wild.
He manages to escape with his life, but obviously a very poor reputation. And then Ptolemy Philometor and Cleopatra II arrive back in Alexandria because they got word. People are like, "We're sick of him. We're going to kick him out. Come and get your house." and they're welcomed back by the locals. With their brother gone, the two are then known as the pharaohs Ptolemy and Cleopatra, the mother-loving gods. That's their like band name.
It sounds like the mother lovers from the SNL skit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's them, basically.
That's basically them, yeah.
And then after they get back and they're ruling on their own, Cleopatra has 2 more babies.
Oh my God, so they have 6 kids?
Guess what their names are?
I'm going to guess something along the lines of either Ptolemy or Cleopatra.
Yeah, both. There's a Ptolemy and a Cleopatra.
Unbelievable.
I just wrote in my notes, yes, because I knew you were going to guess correctly.
I mean, what else? There are literally no other choices.
So this dynamic duo is also they're not just doing a great job making babies, which the Egyptian people love to see.
Yeah, but their brother and sister.
Their brother and sister, yeah. We can't think about it too much. They love to see lots of heirs, right? And even lots of girls means bargaining chips, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For beneficial alliances. So they're great at making kids. They're also great at building beautiful, beautiful buildings across Egypt. They undertake a lot of repairs of temples throughout the Nile Valley, and they create new temples. They completed works at Dendera, I think. This is the birthhouse of Isis. At Karnak, where the huge gate and the second pylon are restored there by them. And at Armant, near Thebes. You guys know the places.
Yeah, you guys know.
Along with many, many more. So they're known for building things, making Egypt more beautiful.
Nice.
So now, where's Potbelly? While these two are having little inbred kids and
I'm
building
guessing,
things.
I don't know for a fact, but I'm guessing that he went to the Seleucids.
No.
He didn't? Okay. I stand corrected. Never mind.
That's a good guess, though.
Yeah.
He's chilling in Cyrene.
Oh, Cyrene. Yeah.
Cyrene?
It's like to the east. Or no, sorry, it's to the west of like Alexandria.
And it's pronounced Cyrene.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just read these in my head. You know, when you are hearing them for the first time?
Yeah.
So he's in Cyrene and he's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
That everyone kicked him out and no one liked him killing everybody. He keeps trying to get Rome to help him get back on the throne.
They're so annoyed.
He bugs them so much that in 154 BCE, the Romans give him some military support and he's able to invade Cyprus.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Ptolemy, Philometor, and Cleopatra II, who had the backing of the Cypriot cities originally, Cyprus is seen as like Egyptian territory.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely not able to access that land anymore. So they fight back. They take Cyprus back from Potbelly, but they don't want to piss off the Romans.
Right.
They're scared that the Romans gave him this power, this military power at all. So they don't punish their brother, even though what he did is obviously a big transgression. They are like, we're actually going to take Cyprus back, but you can keep Cyrene. And what do they give him? Hold on. They give him like gifts and a title. Oh, this is a big deal. They promise him their daughter's hand in marriage.
Yep, I knew this was coming.
It's gross.
It's so disgusting.
Because he has an in with Rome for whatever reason. He's always brown-nosing over there. They're like, here, you can have our daughter. This would have been Cleopatra Thea, she would be known as.
Yeah, I know this one.
She would have been about 13 years old.
Oh. Ew.
This was probably to make Potbelly happy with the idea that, like, one day if he had kids with his niece, his kids maybe would sit on the throne, right? It's to, like...
Right. Like, you can't, but maybe your kids can.
Mm-hmm. But Potbelly says no. He's like, I am so much smarter than both of you. I know what you're doing, and I say no. I don't want to marry your 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah, not because she's 13.
No, but because I don't want you telling me who to marry.
Oh, my God.
And...
he's just so awful.
Mm-hmm. So he says no, and they're like, okay, phew, dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
He's not going to marry our daughter. But they're like on friendly terms, like fake friendly terms.
Yeah.
Basically, they don't want to piss off Rome. And Rome is really annoyed at Potbelly because they're like, we gave you some military aid and you couldn't even hold Cyprus. You couldn't even hold an island.
Yeah, and he had manipular legions. Like those were like they're the elite fighting force of the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm. He goes to Rome and he's like trying to kiss butt. He's like, please don't be mad at me. And he's like, how about I marry Cornelia, the widow of Tiberius Gracchus? He was a big war hero and politician in Rome. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah, and we just mentioned him last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Gracchi brothers.
Yeah.
He had died fairly recently, I guess, and Cornelia would have been older. Like, this isn't like someone to have kids with, but she was a woman of very high regard and high standing in Rome. So it would have placed Potbelly it would have elevated him in Roman society.
Right.
But she refused. She was like, gross. No.
Like, absolutely not.
Apparently, this is that moment of him asking her for her hand in marriage inspired a lot of art. So you can find a lot of paintings of her being like, no way.
Oh, yes, I do know. I do. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. If we find pictures, we should put it in the show Instagram post.
Yeah.
During this time, so Cornelia's like, you're gross, no. So he's like, what if I change my will so that anything I own when I die, if I don't have kids, goes to Rome? This would be including my little island that I live on, my little hangout spot. And Rome's like, okay, yeah, we'll take that.
Like, yes.
So this move inspires many future monarchs throughout history. Monarchs would later use Potbelly's strategy as an attempt to protect themselves from assassination or coup. Because now that Rome could inherit what Potbelly owns, they want to protect Potbelly.
Yeah, and he's also ensuring, because Rome's a republic, right? So there's not one person that benefits. So no one would, they wouldn't send assassins, right? They just wouldn't, because they also wanted to always appear as like the good guys, kind of like in the United States, funny enough. Like they'd always have to have a casus belli, like a cause for war, for them to actually go to war.
Yeah.
They they can never be the aggressors. They have to be like in defense of someone.
Yeah, responding to an uprising, responding to, yeah.
Exactly.
And he's always kissing their butt, so it's not going to happen.
Right.
So that move is important. That move is done. In 145 BCE, Ptolemy Philometor dies.
No.
He's in campaign in Syria, and he dies.
Of course, fighting the Seleucids.
Oh, yeah, they're fighting them again. I skipped a lot. They keep going back and forth.
I mean, yeah, you get the gist.
You get the gist, guys. They're always fighting. He had when he died, he had actually had his son, Ptolemy.
Shut up. No.
Co-ruling with him for a while, like preparing him to take the throne. This was like 3 or 4 months before he died. He's like, hey, I feel like, we're all going to die someday. Son, why don't you co-rule with me? Kind of like an apprenticeship.
Right. Smart dad.
But he didn't expect to die so soon.
Of course.
And Cleopatra II acts quickly by promoting her son to like sole pharaoh and making herself his co-ruler, because people had an issue with like a child ruling, which I think is very reasonable. Very reasonable. So she was like, well, I will co-rule with our new pharaoh. And everyone was like, we like you. You're Cleopatra II. You're cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But as soon as Potbelly hears about this,
oh boy,
he rushes back to Alexandria. He arrives just 1 month after his brother's death. He's ready to take over. This is August 146 BCE.
Oof.
So he has troops. He's set to take over. And Cleopatra technically has troops too, right? But they are in Syria, where her brother died.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're coming back from Syria, and Potbelly can pretty much walk in to Alexandria unopposed. So she doesn't have her normal army with her, but she does have a Jewish commander. There was I should step back. Egyptian society at this time had, yes, I guess somewhat of a cohesive sense of Egyptianness, but Alexandria in particular was a melting pot of cultures.
Yeah.
People from all over the world. So people really hung out with their own kind. So the Greek Egyptians would hang out with the Greek Egyptians. Jewish Egyptians would hang out with Jewish Egyptians. Native Egyptians would stay with each other. And so there is like a small Jewish Egyptian army. There's some small forces there. And Cleopatra II was really well liked by the Jewish community because she treated them like people.
Wow.
And they were like, that's surprising. We like you. And she's friends with this guy named Onias, who brings a small group of loyal Jewish soldiers to help her try to fight for the throne with her son. And
while the main army's coming back.
Yeah, to like hold down the fort, basically. Even though there wasn't a battle, Josephus, you know who Josephus is?
It's a different Josephus.
He's a Jewish Roman historian.
Oh yeah, no, same Josephus.
Yeah. He's much later, but he writes about this. And he says that Potbelly lost his shit. Just seeing that people were supporting his sister.
Ooh, yeah.
So he shows up and he rounds up all the Jewish people in Alexandria, Potbelly.
Oh boy.
Men, women, and children, and orders for them all to be massacred. And this is where Josephus gets a little creative with his storytelling.
Okay.
So I don't know what actually happened. The story goes that he had sentenced them all to death by being trampled by elephants. But upon the orders, the elephants miraculously turn on their handlers instead. And they leave the Jewish people alone and they trample the Potbelly's soldiers instead.
Interesting. Okay.
There's no evidence that this miracle happened.
Right.
But that is the account that we have. And it's further evidence we know that Potbelly was viewed as a very cruel, tyrannical person.
Yeah.
Either way, no matter what happened, Potbelly does successfully win. And he marries Cleopatra II, kicks his nephew off the throne. He's 35 at this point, and just for a little context, he is intentionally morbidly obese. This is because he wanted to display luxury, that he lived in truly unattainable luxury. So he would have been making his body larger and larger and larger as a demonstration of that.
That's insane. Yeah.
He was so large, he was almost unable to move at all. And he was transported everywhere. He went even around the palace on a litter. He was rarely seen on his feet. There were lots of reports of him just like falling asleep in the middle of talking to people.
But he was charismatic somehow.
Yeah. Again, they think the sleeping thing was him just displaying like, I can nap whenever.
Like, I'm bored of you. I could
do whatever I want whenever I want.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that few people in the ancient world would have had the money to be overweight. It would have required money. It would have required excess of food, excess of funds. And they definitely couldn't take indulgent naps.
Right.
I think napping maybe was a part of the culture, but not like, you're in the middle of talking to me at this important meeting, I'm going to nap.
Yeah. And they didn't have excess sugar and trans fats like we do today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it would have taken, think of the effort it took Potbelly to get to where he was. So that's the only reason that I mention his size and like his physical body is because it was a part of his branding, really. It was he thought a good PR move for him. All of the Ptolemies were overweight. This is actually something a lot of people don't know.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know this.
They were all overweight because luxury was considered a family value of theirs.
My God.
So everyone is intentionally bigger than the average person. but Potbelly took it to excess.
I see. Okay. That makes sense.
He wanted to stand out even amongst the Ptolemies. He's physically large.
Oh my God.
But even with all of these reports of how kind of like slothful and gluttonous he is, people also admit like he's really smart. This guy's really smart. He's really into philosophy. He's a big fan of Homer. You know what people say about him?
What do they say?
He's a big history nerd.
No!
That's exactly what I wrote in my notes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So you maybe would have been a fan of the podcast.
No, we're not a fan of you.
Yeah.
Yes, if he can hear us. Imagine just like, describing to him what a podcast is.
Oh my God. That'd be crazy.
Like, how many layers? You'd have to go so many layers.
Mm-hmm. So that's Potbelly. For the context, when he takes over at this time, he's 35. Cleopatra II would be 37.
Okay.
So he marries her for legitimacy, mainly. Because she is well regarded. She has been ruling in some way, shape, or form for a really long time now. Their mother is really well regarded.
Right.
Everyone's used to the sibling marriage thing. It's almost as like a sign of stability for the kingdom. It's not so much to make heirs with her, although they could have. 37 at this time would have been seen as like, yes, it's possible, but it's risky to the mother.
Right.
So he's not marrying her because he likes her. He's marrying her because he wants to use her.
Yeah, for the power.
Mm-hmm. But surprisingly, within a year of their marriage, Cleopatra II is pregnant.
No, poor woman.
I know. Her first time being pregnant in over a decade.
Ugh.
So she thought she was done.
She's like, yay, I'm done.
She had 6 kids already. Ugh, gross.
Campfire season's back, and that means s'mores. But when you're at home treating yourself, take them over ice with Dunkin' S'mores Cold Brew Concentrate. And suddenly you're always treating yourself. The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be. Click or tap the banner to shop now.
So she has her baby boy in Memphis in early 143 BCE, and it is a boy, which is important because boys are better.
And they can be pharaohs. Well, I guess women can be pharaohs too, but like
thanks to the Cleopatras. I mean, this would be early. They
Yeah.
tend to have co-rulers.
That's true.
But yeah, boys are seen as more valuable. It's a problem we still face today.
I knew you were going to bring it. You're just going to go into this.
It's not objectively true. It's very silly.
I know. I love how passionate you get. It's so adorable.
Thank you. So, but she's happy. She's probably really freaking relieved that it's a boy.
Yeah.
Because then maybe now he'll leave her alone. And she's 38 probably.
Yeah,
she's
like,
tired.
Stop, man.
I'm tired for her. So Potbelly's really happy. Yay, I have a son. He's born in Memphis. And shortly after, a group of delegates from Cyrene come and they congratulate him because they're like, you used to hang out with us. Remember, we're here to congratulate you on your new heir. But he is like, you guys used to talk smack about my mistress named Irene back in Cyrene. And he's like, guess what? I'm going to kill all of you.
Oh my God, this guy is unbelievable.
So the people who came to show up as his friends, he murders them.
It's like, dude, no wonder no one likes you, homie.
I know.
What do you expect?
But despite his little murder spree, he was reportedly very happy to have a son. And in his stereotypical cruel manner, once he confirms he has a son, he kills Cleopatra's other son,
No.
Ptolemy VII, the son that was co-ruling with Ptolemy Philometor.
Oh my God, what a horrible human.
So shortly after giving birth, Cleopatra will find out that her current husband and brother has killed her eldest son.
No words.
But don't worry, weirdos.
It's gonna get worse.
It only gets worse. The tip of the iceberg. Okay, so While Cleopatra II was in confinement during pregnancy, that's what they used to do. I think we even see this in shows like The Tudors and stuff. I think people used to think pregnant women were really, really delicate. And their job was to just kind of be off, like not in Alexandria, not in the, where the hustle and bustle is, almost like a retreat to keep her safe, to keep the baby safe. They often didn't sleep with their husbands during this time. There was a common belief that it could hurt the baby, which it can't. So she gets sent away and she's in confinement, right?
Mm-hmm.
During that time, so while she was pregnant, Potbelly starts a new relationship. And it's a relationship with his 16-year-old niece and stepdaughter, Cleopatra III.
Oh my God.
Yep. So, Cleopatra II comes home. She finds out that her brother husband killed her son. She's got a new baby. And then she finds out, hey, your 16-year-old daughter? Yeah. She has a relationship now with your brother husband. And guess what?
They're pregnant.
They're pregnant. She's pregnant.
Oh, boy.
Can you imagine what Cleopatra II's going through right now?
This guy is just a piece of human garbage.
Yeah.
Like there's no redeeming qualities about this guy.
The Romans wrote about this. Like,
oh, they did not appreciate this.
They were disgusted. They were disgusted at Ptolemy killing his nephew, marrying his sister, and then impregnating his niece. It was like the Romans were pretty crass, so they were the butt of a lot of jokes. Cleopatra II was the butt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
It's really sad.
I mean, he stands against like pretty much every single Roman virtue at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because this is before the Roman civil wars. So like, that wasn't really a thing. There was like a sense of like what it meant to be like a Roman, and it was very much so like, you fight for Rome and
much more austere, disciplined.
Yes.
You don't do things in excess. You don't overconsume.
It's starting to change with the inflow of wealth during this century. Mm-hmm. But yeah, generally speaking, you're correct.
Mm-hmm. And he's all about
the exact
lust,
opposite.
Gluttony, all the icky things.
Yeah. Like when they thought about like foreign rulers, like their corrupting force, they thought of like people like him. Exactly.
That's a great thing to add. Thank you. Yeah. He would have been seen as horrendous.
Yeah, exactly. Even in their time.
Yeah. So then in 142 BCE, Cleopatra III gives birth to Potbelly's son. He's
Cleopatra II's
grandchild / nephew.
Oh.
Yeah. He's also named Ptolemy. I don't know where they come up with these names.
It's funny. I'm so confused.
It's so confusing, babe.
I know.
This is why it took me so long to write the episode. We're going to call him Chickpea.
Chickpea?
That's his nickname at the time. They called him Chickpea. I don't know why. Like a chickpea?
So Ptolemy Chickpea.
So he's just Chickpea.
Just Chickpea. Okay, I'm sorry.
If we ever talk about him again, that's what we'll call him.
Okay.
Potbelly, after she gives birth, this is how much of a little skis ball he is. It's not until after his 16-year-old niece gives birth to a son that he agrees, okay, that's my second wife. Isn't that awful?
Oh, I hate him. I hate him so much. So he's currently married to his sister and his niece.
Yes.
And has a son with both of them now.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Egypt has one king, 2 queens, who are mother and daughter, and 2 potential male heirs. What could go wrong?
Nothing could ever go wrong here.
No. Next section of my notes is called Civil War.
Oh my God, that's like perfect.
In late 132 BCE, the conflict between the royal siblings, the 2, because one's dead, finally erupts into open warfare, with Potbelly on one side, Cleopatra on the other side. I'm sorry, there's another Cleopatra now. Potbelly and Cleopatra III on one side and Cleopatra II on the other side.
Oh, wow.
Do you have any questions at this point before I move forward, actually?
No, just to clarify, so it's, yeah, so
you do have a question.
Cleopatra the Third, I guess so. The Cleopatra the Third, that's the daughter of Cleopatra II, and they're enemies now.
Yes, that is what I was hoping you would ask about. The picture that was painted at the time was that she's a child, right? So she's like an unwilling sort of pawn in Potbelly's game. Llewellyn Jones, the expert in the Cleopatras, the expert in the Ptolemaic dynasty, his book is amazing, and he argues that at least by this point, by 132 BCE, she's not a pawn. She's not dumb. We know she's really smart. We know she's really ambitious, and she is actively engaging in hostilities against her mother.
Okay, so she's also kind of a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
So they're well suited for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. So she and Potbelly are a team, for sure, at this point. I don't know. I highly doubt. I mean, they would have had no concept of consent.
Right.
Women didn't have that option, but I highly doubt, like, for our understanding, she would have consented to the initial relationship.
Well, yeah.
But she is fully in it now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So at first, Potbelly retains control of Alexandria. But in 131 BCE, the people of Alexandria are like, wait, we forgot we freaking hated this guy. And they riot against him again.
Oh my God, yes.
And they want Cleopatra II back, and they set fire to the royal palace. That's how pissed they are.
Wow.
So Potbelly and Cleopatra III flee, and they escape to Cyprus.
And they always go to Cyprus.
It must be really nice.
I think it is, yeah.
I really want to
It's
go.
probably really pretty.
I know.
It's interesting because that's the island that's 1/3 Turkish, 2/3 Greek, I think.
What?
I think so. I
Oh my
think so.
God.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's fascinating.
I hope I'm just not giving blatant disinformation. We'll see.
Well, if we're wrong, we'll be told.
That's true.
We'll know. So they flee. Cleopatra II crowns herself as sole queen, the first time that a Ptolemaic woman will rule alone.
Oh, wow.
So she takes on, I'm the queen, and she takes on the title of Thea Philometor Sotera, mother-loving savior goddess.
I love that. She's just piling them on.
Yeah.
And this is still Cleopatra II, right?
Cleopatra II.
Okay.
And although Alexandria the city had sided with Cleopatra II, and she tended to be supported by the Greeks and the Jewish people throughout the country, she actually didn't hold a lot of favor with native Egyptians.
Wow, that's interesting.
Potbelly and Cleopatra III were more popular with the native Egyptians.
Wow, do you know why that is?
I couldn't tell you in detail. It must have to do with like certain laws that are passed that would just inherently sort of favor one group versus another, and she just happened to pass more laws in favor of the Greeks and Jewish people versus the native Egyptians. Actually, you know what? There was a lot of discrimination, unfortunately, against native Egyptians, and she probably didn't help with that.
Mm.
Yeah. They faced a lot of injustices at this time. Let me see, what year are we in now? At the beginning of 130 BCE, Potbelly and Cleopatra III leave Cyprus, sneaky, and they go back to Egypt with the help of a native Egyptian general named Paus. By spring, Paus helps them take control of Memphis.
Oh, snap. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. They promote Paus to commander over the whole of the army. You know, they're assuming we're going to win, we're going to have the whole army under us, and you're going to rule the whole army. This is the first time that a native Egyptian would hold such a prominent position.
Damn. So they were really manipulative. They were very smart.
Very smart.
In that, like, mobilizing like a populist force almost just for their own political ends, even though they don't really give a shit about them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And then I don't know if you recall, but Potbelly has a son with Cleopatra II, right?
Yeah.
Where do you think he is?
Where?
Yeah, where is he?
Not in Alexandria.
Mm-mm. He's with Potbelly.
Oh.
Potbelly would send letters to Cleopatra II, making it seem like it was their son, who they called Memphites, because he was born at Memphis. But it's pretty evident. Historians are pretty all on board with the fact that he was a hostage. He wouldn't have been there willingly.
And this was his own son.
This is his own son.
Wow.
He probably kidnapped him when he fled to use him as leverage and to force Cleopatra II to give him back the throne, but she doesn't cave. And Potbelly gets more and more upset over this. So she's still technically winning because she's in Alexandria.
Right.
We have Potbelly and Cleopatra II and Memphites in Memphis. Things come to a head in 130 BCE when Cleopatra II turns 55.
Okay.
That's pretty old for this day and age.
Absolutely.
Not that 55 is old to
Yeah.
anyone listening, but for ancient times, I feel like
Yeah.
that's pretty old.
Especially being at war on and off for decades, right? Even as a little girl, she was at war
Mhm.
with like her uncle. And now it's like she's 55, still at war with her brother and daughter.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, man.
It's rough.
Yeah.
So she decides to show strength by throwing herself a big birthday party to show like, oh, I'm not even threatened by my brother and daughter. So she has a huge party at the palace in Alexandria. She has people come from all over. She has courtiers, different aristocrats, dignitaries, foreign ambassadors. People come from everywhere. And gifts start to pour in from all over the world. Like, this is a big deal.
Right.
Imagine like they're all hanging out, laying down, right? That's how the Greeks ate. They're all like reclining in those little couches to eat on the side and hanging out. And she's getting presented all her gifts one by one.
Oh, I know where this is going.
She receives jewelry. She receives fine fabrics. She receives like beautiful decor. She even gets a parrot. A parrot is mentioned in the list of gifts.
What? I wonder, it must be like an African gray or something, right?
It was talking, yeah. That's why they mentioned it, like it could talk.
Oh, it had to have been African gray.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So she's like, wow, I have a parrot now. My life is complete. And and then a large ebony box decorated with ivory carvings is brought to her. It's huge, it's heavy, and the note on it says, from King Ptolemy and his wife, Cleopatra. So it's Potbelly and her daughter. She commands for the box to be opened and peers inside, and what she finds is appalling. Piled one on top of another were the arms, legs, torso, and head of a boy. It was the dismembered body of Memphites, her son, with Potbelly.
Like psychotic.
Memphites would have been 12 years old when his father Potbelly killed him and had him dismembered.
Like, absolutely just, this guy's like unforgivable.
Yeah, your own child. Cleopatra II put the dismembered limbs of her son on public display in Alexandria.
It's a pretty smart political move, honestly.
To rouse anger and hatred against Potbelly and Cleopatra II.
Right, like this guy did this to his own child. That's, I mean, anyone with just any sort of conscience is like, oh, this guy is just pure evil.
Yeah.
Like, he's not fit to rule.
But he is still gaining traction with the army he has. And both Potbelly and Cleopatra II ask Rome to intervene on their behalf. Rome refuses to take a side.
I bet they're so tired.
Like, Egypt's not worth the headache.
Yeah.
Cleopatra II's getting desperate as they inch closer and closer to her. So in 129 BCE, she offers the Egyptian throne to her son-in-law, the Seleucid king Demetrius II.
Oh my God, it's a Demetrius, someone different.
Someone different. Because remember the daughter, Cleopatra Thea,
Yes.
that they had offered to Potbelly when she was 13?
Mm-hmm.
She married into the Seleucid Empire. She's known as a kingmaker. She will actually be married to lots of kings. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cleopatra II's like, hey, son-in-law, if you come and you beat them, you can have the throne. I'd rather have you and my daughter have the throne than have my brother and my other daughter have the throne.
Yeah.
So he's like, bet. And he invades Egypt in 128. And his troops, however, are stuck at the border because they've been at war. The Seleucids are always at war. And they hear that, okay, back home in Syria, basically, it's known as Syria, Cleopatra Thea, while her husband is going to save her mom, I don't know why she does this, but she has her son take over the throne. She's like, you are now king. Your dad's gone. He's going to, I think she was thinking he's going to be king of Egypt. You can be king of here. But this really pisses off the soldiers, and the troops form a mutiny.
Oh, boy.
And they refuse to march into Egypt and help, and they turn around and they go back to Syria.
Wow.
To stop Demetrius II from coming back, Potbelly sends a fake Seleucid royal named Alexander II to Syria to stir up a rebellion there as well.
Oh my God, this guy, he's like a precursor to the CIA.
Mm-hmm. It's a fake. It's all fake. Everyone on Potbelly's side knows it's fake.
Right.
The boy has no claim, but they're pretending he does, so that Demetrius can't just like go to his troops and explain and be like, "Oh no, it's cool. Like this is what we wanted." Nothing like that, because then they have to address Alexander II. This keeps the Seleucids busy for a while, and they cannot help and interfere with Egypt. Then in 127 BCE, Cleopatra II is like, I can basically see them coming. I'm going to flee.
Right.
And she goes to Demetrius II's court, taking the treasury with her. And that gives Potbelly the chance to take over Alexandria.
Yeah.
The conquest is accompanied by, of course, a very bloody purge of any supporters of Cleopatra II, which would have been everybody.
Of course.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants, including the $155 Walmart Plus monthly membership credit and $240 flexible business credit. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Should we keep going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is Potbelly's third reign.
Dude, this guy is unbelievable.
He is.
Unfreaking believable.
Potbelly's rule is a mess. Crime goes up. Harvests go down.
So things that go up are going down. Things that going down should be going up.
Yeah. And the Egyptian people are deeply unhappy. They have kicked him out twice now, and he is back. And they're like, why are you here? There's just a general sense of anxiety hanging over the whole country. And Potbelly's basically losing grip on, he has the support of native Egyptians, but everyone's hungry. So that's going to go any second now.
Right.
And he already had the Jewish Egyptians and the Greek Egyptians hating him. So he's really running out of allies here. And he decides, this is a super surprising move, I think, to reach out to Cleopatra II. And he's like, let's make peace. I need your help.
You're like, sorry, I killed our child together, and I'm married to one of your other children, but... Hey. Oh, and I also killed one of your kids with your first husband / my brother / your brother.
He has killed 2 of her sons now.
and married a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. The audacity, man.
Yeah. But he reaches out to Cleopatra II, who's in the Seleucid Empire, and it's a mess in the Seleucid Empire because of his fake Alexander guy.
This guy's just messing up everywhere he goes.
Yeah, so she says you need to declare support for Demetrius II's son, because I think Demetrius II actually dies trying to fix that problem.
Wow.
So this guy's name is Antiochus. I think Antiochus VIII.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And Potbelly's like, fine. I'll tell people that Alexander doesn't have any claim. I'll support this Antiochus kid. So he does that for her. So that's an act of good faith. She's like, okay, now I'll return to Egypt and we can be co-rulers again for like the millionth time.
Oh my God.
In April 118 BCE, the royal trio, this is a new royal trio, right? Mother, daughter. The original royal trio was brother, sister, brother.
Yeah.
So they issue a decree of amnesty, which stated, quote, King Ptolemy and Queen Cleopatra the sister and Queen Cleopatra the wife proclaim an amnesty to all their subjects for errors, crimes, accusations, condemnations, and charges of all kinds up to the 9th of Pharmuthi of the 52nd year, except to persons guilty of willful murder or sacrilege. So they pardon a bunch of crimes up to a certain date. The decree also made the following concessions to the subjects. One, encouraging refugees to return home and reclaim their properties.
Oh my God.
They waived back taxes. They confirm land grants to soldiers from the civil wars. They give temples some land privileges. They standardize weights and measures for tax officials with penalties for noncompliance. Because I guess tax officials used to like weigh your stuff when doing taxes, like literal like gold or I don't know.
Probably like crops even, maybe.
Yeah, but they were known for
kind of putting a finger under the scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now they're like, okay, now if they do that, there'll be a penalty for it. And they established separate courts for disputes involving Greek documents and Egyptian documents, preventing Greek judges from unfairly handling the cases involving native Egyptians.
Wow, okay.
So people were pretty happy with this. They're
Yeah,
like,
that's some sweeping reforms right there.
yeah, they're like, cool, that's the least you could do. You guys have been messing with us for forever. And I do want to point out, the decree is important, that it says Cleopatra the sister and Cleopatra the wife. It's believed that during this new transition, this like final transition, that's really the picture that they try to paint, is that Cleopatra II and Potbelly are sibling rulers, not spouses.
Got it. Okay. Even though they used to be spouses.
Yes. Now the only spouse is Cleopatra III. And she's the younger one anyway, so she can continue to produce heirs. So then, after all of this, after 3 individual reigns, around 117 BCE, Potbelly's eventful life begins to wind down.
Thank God.
He'd become more mellow since Cleopatra II returned, less prone to violent outbursts, and was trying to live up to the nickname he gave himself, which was Eurydice, the Beneficent. By building lots of temples and doing lots of good deeds. Someone's conscience was weighing on him.
Yeah, clearly. Better late than never, I suppose.
On June 28th, 116 BCE, Potbelly dies. Natural causes.
That is unfortunate.
He left the throne to Cleopatra III, his wife, and, quote, whichever of her sons she preferred. Many see this as a final way to mess with his family.
Unbelievable.
To make his sons fight with each other, to put pressure on his wife.
I wonder also if it was like not like he's trying to be a little bit like Alexander too.
Mm.
Because he said to the strongest. Well, according to like almost like legend at this point.
And he said to whichever son you prefer. Oh my God. Ultimately, the eldest son, Chickpea, he becomes king alongside Cleopatra II and Cleopatra III.
Gotcha.
Cleopatra II lives a really long life.
She's really old at this point.
And I will end Potbelly's story with one final quote from Llewellyn Jones's book, because I think he does a really good job of summarizing the impact here. So he writes, quote, "He convinced himself that he was loved and that he was a great pharaoh. More harmfully, his fantasy projected the illusion of Egypt's immunity to invasion by foreign enemies. In the decades after his death, it would become clear that the mirage of Egypt's invincibility was fading fast, and the country opened its eyes to the dark reality of Mediterranean politics. The kingdom Potbelly, left to Cleopatra III, was on the cusp of decline, and the coming decades would show how the Ptolemies failed to unite as a family and instead put their relentless dynastic quarrels ahead of everything else." End quote.
Wow, that summarizes it really well.
So Potbelly really marks the beginning of the end for the Ptolemies.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that. Is like it only gets worse for like Egypt.
Yes.
And it just gets more pathetic with their desperate, like, basically pleas for help for Rome. And Rome
all the time
does acquiesce, and they will do things, and it's just like, it's almost as if like your annoying little brother is just like constantly just nagging you, and you're like, fine, okay, here's a little bit just like of my attention or whatever.
Yeah, until they go too far, which Cleopatra VII does in the eyes of Rome.
Oh yeah.
With Mark Antony, and they're like, F this.
Like, you're ours now.
You're done.
Egypt is ours. And Rome would hold on to Egypt for over 600 years. Like 650 years, roughly.
That's so long. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, that is the cruel, debaucherous, and controversial life of Potbelly.
Wow. That was absolutely incredible. I mean...
Thanks, love.
Talk about convoluted,
It
right?
Was, yeah. Everyone's the same person.
Oh, my God. You did that in such a beautiful way, though, in keeping it straight. I was following along like pretty much the entire time.
Oh, good.
So I think you did an amazing job.
You're so nice.
Thank you for that episode.
I can't ever cover the ancient stuff as much as you can, like as well as you can, I should say. So I appreciate it.
I think you did a fantastic job. So I mean, I couldn't have done a better job myself.
Yeah, you could have.
No, but that was also just an incredible story.
Thank you. Yeah. The awful things he does.
I can't believe this guy. Unbelievable.
He really sees Egypt as his playground.
Yeah.
And he sees human life as disposable.
Clearly.
Even his own sons.
A
12-year-old.
Just the absolute level of despicability.
I
don't think it cannot be measured.
That's why he's so infamous in history.
Infamous.
So infamous.
He might be one of the worst, one of the worst rulers who is actually competent.
Yeah. Not a bad ruler because he's dumb or naive. Or even lazy necessarily. Physically lazy, sure, but intellectually very sharp, very strategic. But just such a terrible person.
And who just didn't seem to, care, at all about, anyone besides himself.
Yeah. It must be awful to live under a ruler like that. It must be so scary.
Oh, my God. Don't get us started down that rabbit hole. Well, anyways, incredible episode. And again, I think you handled that beautifully, and it was an ancient episode.
Yay!
I loved being in story time mode and listening to an ancient episode.
Oh, I'm so glad. My next one definitely will not be ancient.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna take a pause on ancient for a while.
Yeah.
Well, weirdos, I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know the drill by now, right?
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram if you haven't.
At History for Weirdos.
At History for Weirdos, yes. You can also, if you have a story that you would like to propose, you can email us as well. historyforweirdos@gmail.com.
Be sure to follow us on Spotify.
That too.
Or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. On Spotify, you can leave comments on the episode.
Yes.
Right? So if you have any thoughts about Potbelly or any interesting things you picked up on, please let us know.
Yeah, please let us know. Exactly. Well, and that wraps up this week, guys.
Until next time, weirdos.
Until next time. Adios.